Hello, I'm making this video today to talk to you about this. Some of you are going to be leaving us soon, so Bexley College has got together with some employment experts. And joining me today is MP for Erith and Thamesmead, Theresa Pearce.
My name is Colour Sergeant O'Grady and I'm an Army Careers Advisor.
So my name is Jess and I'm an employability consultant for Bexley Council, working in Erith Resources Plus.
And me, to give you some advice and tips on gaining employment. And considering the fierce competition that exists in today's job market, how important do you think further education is?
It's incredibly important, and it's not just, I think we should have lifelong education, because when I was younger, people used to go into a career and they'd have that career all their life and they'd work in the same job. That's not the case now. People change job, they change careers, and so we need to have education for everybody at whatever point they need it. And further education is really, really important, and it's terrible that the funding for it has been cut, because it just means that, say, when I was younger, what a lot of people used to do, they used to maybe leave school and get a job, but go to night school, which was the further education then. So they go to night school, they go to college, they get a qualification whilst they were working. Well, now it's hard enough to get a job, let alone get the further education.
So you've seen a job you like the look of, you filled out an application form and they're requesting your CV.
The CV is the most crucial part, I think, of finding a job, because it's your marketing tool essentially. So that's the bit that's going to get you past that stage where you get the chance to sit in front of somebody and sell yourself. So if your CV's not up to scratch, or it's not original enough, or it's not selling yourself effectively, then you're never going to get past that initial stage to actually get the opportunity to sit in front of an employer and say, this is why I'm good for this job. So that's why CV is crucial, to be up to scratch and really selling your skills effectively.
Your CV is the first step in getting your foot in the door, so make it a good one. What was your first job and how easy was it to get?
Well, my first job was very easy to get because my mum and dad had a shop, so I worked in there on a Saturday, but I didn't get paid. And very soon they got rid of me because I was the worst shop assistant ever, because I used to want to read my book and people kept coming in and asking for service.
You got sacked by your parents?
I got advised it was not my calling.
Okay, so your CV got you an interview. This is the part where you sell yourself. How do you do this? First things first, be on time. It's better to be an hour early than 10 minutes late.
We look for confidence, we look for fitness, and we look for teamwork and abilities. Put those three abilities together, that is ideally what we're looking for.
I think it's a mix of things that employers are looking for these days, but I think most of the time the biggest factor is going to be a bit of passion, so a bit of get up and go. So employers are looking, especially in this sort of market, which is really competitive, they're looking for somebody who's got some keenness and some passion to work and to get into employment and to start from the bottom and work their way up. I think a lot of young people, maybe in the 18 to 24 bracket, often fall into the trap of becoming a bit apathetic, and that can be a barrier, I think, in finding employment.
Clothes say a lot about a person, so dress to impress. If you look the part, you'll feel the part. Tell me about your first job interview.
Well, my first job interview, it was kind of nerve-wracking at first, but it was only when I was sitting down waiting. As soon as I got in there, kind of people were friendly, and I just thought about and started thinking about most of the scary things, and just got on with it, and I got the job in the end.
So what's next? Excuse me a minute. Hello? Yeah, no, I'm filming now. No, I'm doing it now. Yeah, no, I can do that later. No, but I'm doing this now. I think you get the point. Switch it off. I promise you the world will not end. Tell me about your first job interview.
My first job interview was for a graphics company up in London. It was very nerve-wracking at first. I was sitting, just waiting. By the time I got in there, I was comfortable and just, said what they wanted me to say, and ended up getting the internship, so all was good in the end.
So now comes the interview. It's natural to be nervous, but don't worry, you're not going to walk into the room and find Hannibal Lecter sitting there. At least I hope not. Don't forget, the people that are interviewing you are just that. They're just people, so don't panic. They've been through this before themselves, and they understand.
Advantages, okay. The Army has a lifestyle that is unique. This lifestyle is where everyone lives eats, breathes and works together. 1, it produces a family type environment. 2, it produces a good bond, team-working bond, where people can work together in peacetime. So when in operations, you will then be able to work with and trust your colleagues with your life, ultimately, when on operations. So these are the main advantages.
There's so many. I think claiming benefits sometimes becomes a way of life. And people forget that if you're in employment, there's so many more things than just having a job that come along with it. So you get financial independence, you can choose to pursue hobbies that you wouldn't be able to afford necessarily otherwise. It gives you a sort of a sense of civic participation, like you're contributing to the society that you're living in. It can really boost general well-being, like general mental health and self-esteem issues that people might have. There's a good social aspect to working that you maybe miss out on if you're not in employment. So meeting a new circle of friends, networking, allowing career progression. If you're in employment, you're speaking to other people who are in employment, you get to hear about that job opportunity or this course or that person who might be able to get you that job, and it really does open doors everywhere.
Now this is one of the more tricky parts of an interview, the handshake. Okay, so this is a handshake. Not too firm, not too loose. What you don't want to do is this or this. And it's not a wrestling competition. You don't have to cripple your opponent. Can you tell us about your interview for Bexley College?
Yes, that was an interesting experience because I hadn't had the type of assessment that they gave me before. They gave an assessment in the first round of us coming in and effectively sitting a little exam, which took me a bit by surprise, to be honest. I was expecting that probably we would get maybe 4 questions to answer. I ended up with 11 questions to answer, 11 different scenarios, quite difficult scenarios, to answer in 1 hour. I was so pleased that I'd prepared myself well. What I'd done is I'd been through all of my previous college's policies, right the way through. I'd spent hours, to be honest, looking through my college policies, so I knew how to answer the scenarios because I'd done my preparation work. I'd also prepared the sorts of questions that I thought that they would ask when we came to the second round of interviews. And again, that stood me in good stead. I knew that there were fairly standard answers, standard questions that they would ask me. Like, for example, I know that they're going to ask me something on safeguarding, something on health and safety, something about difficult situations at work, and also perhaps what I'd got planned for the future, what my agenda was if I was given the role. So I would say that preparation is absolutely key if you want to be a good competitor for a job interview.
So remember, a good CV, be on time, dress to impress, turn your phone off, and be confident. Happy interviewing.
Yeah? Yeah. You work tomorrow, right?